Hello, welcome to the Holyoke Tarot. My name is Liam, and today I have a pick a card reading for you. We have 3 piles. This is a timeless reading, so whenever you find it is when you're meant to find it. I'll go over the piles and you can pause and pick a pile then, or you can just watch the whole thing and see what resonates best for you, or most for you. So our first deck is going to be just classic Waite. The symbol for that in the thumbnail is a little toe, a little bone. It's a toe bone, but it's a bone. And then we have the Infinite Door deck, and that's just this stone. And the Rainbow Tarot deck, and that's a shell. Yeah, I forgot to grab a pen. Does work? Yeah. I'm also was going to say, if you like this video, I hope you will like it and consider subscribing. All right, let's get into it. Messages for pile 1. There's way too many cards. Any messages for pile 1? Any messages for pile 1? Any messages? Everyone's doing well. We're surprisingly nearing the end of April already, which is crazy. Yeah, it's gonna be summer in no time, which is crazy. Getting back into swim lessons for me, not for me, but for my child. So that feels like preparation for summer. Any more cards here? And what else is going on? This one? Any more cards? That's way too many. Okay. Alright, let's just go with this. Okay. We got the Empress, the King of Pentacles, the 8 of Wands, no, 9 of Wands, sorry, and the 4 of Wands. Should know my Roman numerals a little bit better. Interesting, all these have yellow backgrounds, which there's actually a lot of yellow backgrounds in the Rider-Waite decks. Yeah, I mean, this could be a few things. The Empress is definitely like stepping into your feminine power, creation, energy. And then with the King of Pentacles right after that is definitely feeling like you're stepping into this. It feels like you're stepping into like a window of momentum, and you have a lot of support on your side of creating, manifesting the things you've been wanting in your life. And then with the King of Pentacles, it feels like those are gonna come to fruition. I do feel like there's a little bit of a tendency here to with this Nine of Wands to in this instance feel maybe a little bit sorry for yourself. It feels like you're kind of like feels a little bit like you are like trying to like protect something or like start a fight or like put yourself in this weird state, I would say. And kind of it's like, oh, there's no one actually there. Like you obviously have been hurt, but it's like there's not anyone there anymore. And so I think there's this level of like you're really having your guard up about these blessings, basically, right? So it does feel like there's a level of like not trusting yourself, and maybe also not seeing what's actually there. Like maybe you're being a little bit maybe you're being a little bit like short-sighted, maybe, or I don't know. This pile might be for me, so sometimes I think when it's for me, um, the clarity is not always quite as present as when it's for sure for someone else. Needless to say, yeah, and then ultimately with the Four of Wands at the end, like this is a very like this was very much like wedding, if that's your situation. It could also just be, it's very celebratory. It's very like, fours could be a synchronicity for you. It could also just be that it's like a coming together and a completion of the work that you're putting into here at the beginning of this process. Yeah. So you got to wade through a little bit of murkiness with this Nine of Wands. And I would say that that's maybe like navigating some tricky situations. Or not even really. Like it since it's not swords, it's not feeling like it's purely like mental space. But it's feeling a little bit like there's just some there's just some guarding, like he's literally guarding these things. There's some guarding of maybe your heart or your expectations, and you're not really allowing yourself to be in this thing. And when you allow yourself to really be in this thing, this is where you end up, right? And that could be figuratively. That doesn't mean you're actually going to be getting married. If that's not where you are in your path at the moment, or if you're already married. Yeah. Anyways, let's see what the advice card is for them. I need to get it. I should get another little advice deck so we can switch them out, out and about. Be spirit. Sweet results await. That's funny. That's funny. What was that? That's just funny because if this card is for me, that's funny. Anyways, that's not super relevant to everybody for sure, but hopefully for other people who pick pile one, that it feels resonant as well. The Bee Spirit's message is that sweet rewards are on their way if you're willing to get your ego out of the way and immerse yourself in the connected energy of all things. Bee Spirit knows not to let a sense of being a separate self get in the way of a good thing. Spirit is always producing honey. Miracles and magic are everywhere. Spirit is always producing honey. Miracles and magic are everywhere. When you connect with the great hive, you are vibrating and buzzing in an exquisite harmony with all. Bee Spirit asks that your focus be on connectivity, your body, heart, soul, and psyche experience total interconnectedness and a true integration when you self-forget. When you remember that you are part of a greater unified consciousness. Moving from separation into connection, from self-centered limitation to spirit-centered infinite possibility and potential. You become busy as a bee, enjoying the gifts of bee spirit. Fully in alignment with your highest expression of yourself, your heart opens and creativity rushes through you, seemingly without effort, as you experience that nothing feels like work. Magical results are taking form and will be sweeter than you expect. Bee Spirit wants you to remember that your part in the divine partnership with the conscious universe is being rewarded, even if you can't see that yet. And asks that you share your good fortune, as there's plenty of honey for all. Be a part of the larger whole, the force that brings forth all this is sweet and delightful. Nice. That's a good one. Okay, cool. All right, here is our infinite door deck. I don't use this deck that often. And the images are very, very different, so we'll see how it goes. What messages do we have for pile 2? What messages do we have for pile 2? Whoa. Sorry about that. All right. What messages do we have for pile 2? Pile 2. What messages do we have for you? The Fool. There's like a little, this little like pug or French bulldog maybe. He's like almost falling off of that, or he's doing like a balancing, practicing something. And then we got the 5 of Pentacles. The 6 of Pentacles. The World. And the 3 of Wands. Okay. That's interesting to have the 5 and the 6 right there. Because this is moving into like... The 5 is like needing, like this person is like needing some assistance, you know? And then the 6 is giving assistance. So it's kind of an interesting transition, especially to start with the Fool. So you're, I think at most times in our lives we could be thought of as beginning something again, or beginning something anew, or starting some sort of journey, right? Pretty consistently, I would say, like when you discover something new or what have you, like it certainly always feels like there's the potential to be beginning a new journey. And so pile 2, it feels like you're at kind of this precipice of beginning something, and you're balancing yourself on the edge of this cliff, and you could easily fall backwards into who you've always been, or you could choose to stabilize and press forward onto a new path. And with that will come some needing help. Honestly, that's what this feels like. There's going to be a need to allow yourself to be helped and allow yourself to be in a position where people can help you. And I think you're going to have to be receptive to that. And with that receptivity, with that, with, oh crap, I forgot to do timestamps. I just realized. When do you think this has been going? Let's just do this. Hopefully that'll be okay. Sorry, I lost my flow. I just realized that I didn't do that. Oh, okay. So I think there's going to be like as you're moving through this journey, as you're starting this journey, you're going to need some assistance. Whether that be like you need to ask someone for financial assistance, maybe that be you need to ask someone to help you care for something in your home. Maybe you just need like emotional support or an accountability buddy or something like that, or maybe you need to be finding some sort of teacher. Doesn't necessarily seem like teacher, but it seems like I think it'd be a different card if it was a teacher. But yeah, there is some need to receive help. And in doing so, and this will kind of like tumble down into you eventually being someone who can provide the help, you know. So I think there comes there's a little bit of an element here of like if you you have to like allow yourself to be helped, and then you can be the helper, you know. And that could be something that's very difficult for you that you have to experience before, maybe not before, but in tandem with you. I just noticed that this has like a little kitty cat flying through there. In tandem with you, stepping into this world card. And it does maybe feel like there's a tendency for you to like be holding it all together. Like this is you, and you're trying to hold everyone up. So it does feel like asking for help is maybe not something that is your strong suit. You're much more prefer to be the person that is helping others. So it actually kind of feels like this assisting is maybe the Six of Pentacles is a place you're used to being. You're used to being someone who's carrying the world on their shoulders, literally, as in this card is happening. And then as you move into the Three of Wands, there's a little bit of like there's like some new growth happening here. There's obviously like a statue right here, so it feels like there's been some sort of travel to get to this place, and there's been a journey here. What's really not coming together here? The trajectory feels interesting. It almost feels like to begin, if you're wanting to start something new and begin a new journey, then you need to be asking for help. You need to lean into this Five of Pentacles and allow yourself to be helped. Otherwise, you're kind of repeating the same pattern where you're helping too much with the Six of Pentacles and the world, and then you wind up standing there alone still. So that sort of feels like how it's coming together. Pile two. Um, yeah, I mean, ultimately, like, you get to decide which way you want to go. And yeah, let's see. There's an animal advice card. Porcupine spirit. Time for beginner mind. Well, there you have it. Time for a beginner's mind with this process. You know. Should I read that? I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. Time for beginner's mind. Beaver, 48. If that's any significance to you. Okay. Cool. And then I always do this. I always also forget to do the little. This one's a show for the Rainbow Tarot. Let's move on to the last pile. Messages do we have for our pile 3? Messages do we have for our pile 3? What messages do we have for our pile 3? Okay, any more? Any more messages? Alright, let's go with that. Okay, we have the Hanged Man, Lepundu, Eight of Wands, Ace of Cups, Three of Pentacles, and the Knight of Wands. Okay, so there's definitely a perspective shift that is required, maybe required is too much of an intense of a word, but mostly like that you're being encouraged to maybe shift your maybe allow your perspective to be shifted a little bit, is what the Hanged Man is asking of you. And then we have the Eight of Wands, which is in this deck. Eight of Wands. Interesting. It's kind of like, looks like all these little sticks are kind of like flying towards wands, I guess, flying towards this kind of funky creature here on the side. With like a stream and mountains in the background. Eight of Wands. Let's see what we get as we move through these. This one's not springing out to me. The Ace of Cups, Three of Pentacles, Knight of Wands. I mean, there's definitely some like shifting here, right? The Ace of Cups is overflowing. There's like a possibility of new beginnings. I feel like Ace is like this pure elemental power, and so there could be a lot of like influx of intuition and maybe being in tune with your emotional experience, and maybe recognizing it as your emotional experience rather than being ruled by it. Could be the Ace of Cups is bringing up that possibility. And the Three of Pentacles is really about um, like harnessing your creative. I would say not even that. I would say it's like devoting yourself to your craft, right? She happens to be like carving stone. The light's like a little bit weird on these. Yeah, so that's that. And then the Knight of Wands is feeling like she's not rushing, so like it doesn't seem like she's going so fast in this image anyways. But there is pace here. There is movement. You definitely have some movement on your side here. And then this Eight of Wands. I'm feeling tripped up by that. What is this one? What is this telling you? Pile 3, this is a bit of a stumper for some reason. Yeah, I think maybe this is maybe the more I'm looking at this Eight of Wands, it's feeling like you're being forced out of something. It could be a relationship or a job, but you're kind of being pushed out of something that you wouldn't necessarily have chosen to be pushed out of, but like you're kicked out. They're throwing all these wands at you, you know, if you're this little guy. And so I feel like there's a point, right? This perspective shift is asking you you could either you have the choice to like wallow in this change, and definitely I feel like there's you can allow this to overflow as in overrun you, or you can allow this to overflow as in overflow and then like the analogy that came to my head was like allow it to overflow and like drift you down the river a little bit, like allow it to fill up and then you can float down the river, or you could drown, but it's just kind of up to you there. And then in that shift is this possibility to really devote yourself to something, and this could be like a hobby that you've just been doing on the side that maybe you've thought about turning into a business. It could be maybe you've been wanting to go back to school for a specific reason. Maybe you've been wanting to like change careers in general. I think this Three of Pentacles is allowing you or reminding you of the possibilities and of what you're capable of if you really set your mind to something. And I think with this Knight of Wands, it's kind of clearing the path, right? If your desire, you're able to like you're able to meet your desire quite swiftly if you give yourself the opportunity, if you flow through this instead of get too caught up in it, you know. Yeah, maybe we got there in the end. All right, let's see here. It's our advice card for pile 3. Mouse spirit, tend to the small things. So there's your reminder while you're going through this little hiccup or big hiccup. All right, well, if you made it this far, I really appreciate you watching. Please give it a like. Please subscribe. If you want to book a one-on-one reading with me, in the description you can shoot me an email or shoot me an email, or you can message me on Instagram, whatever you prefer. All right, thanks for tuning in. Catch you in the next one.